It does say, doesn't it, David, again, just how instant this transfer of power is, and as you said a moment ago, how tough it is for the outgoing president.
That's correct.
There, by the way, is a man to whom we are grateful. That's the clerk of the House down there, Don Anderson, and in that crowd as well, who has been terribly helpful to all of us in our appreciation of this enormous, great establishment. And I'd like to thank him publicly for all the kindness he extended to us, the clerk of the House, including showing us the other day the journal of the first House of Representatives, which he keeps in his office and thumbs through on occasion. We have, by the way, we will not spoil it either for you or for us, but the president's inaugural speech has been released to the press. It is the centerpiece, of course, of this inauguration ceremony. And we'll tell you this much because there's been a lot of talk about it heretofore. It's not very long by presidential speech standards. 1,500 words. We'll see how long it takes this quite occasionally verbose man to deliver it.
Some presidents have come to be so sick and tired of hearing "Hail to the Chief," they've ordered it stopped.
Hail to the Chief. Is the only remaining justice on the court appointed by a Democrat. It was going to be Thurgood Marshall, the former justice, but he is regarded as having, he is not regarded as, he has ill health prevented him from coming. Justice White will administer the oath to Vice President.
He was appointed by John Kennedy, delivered the Colorado delegation to Kennedy at the 1960 convention.
I, Albert Gore, Jr., do solemnly swear.
I, Albert Gore, Jr., do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
that I will well and faithfully perform
that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
And I know you will, Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
The Bible was a gift from his father, Albert Gore Sr., formerly a senator.
This is the man who would have been, had he had his dream come true, been president himself. He ran for the presidency 4 years ago, was beaten, was chosen by Bill Clinton this year. The two have become, by virtually all accounts, very close. Not by any means interchangeable, but very close, with Al Gore having been a, in the main, very devoted servant of the ticket. And as we have heard said so many times, allowing hugging between men to come back into somewhat more public fashion.
William Jefferson Clinton, Chief Justice.
This is the second time that Chief Justice Rehnquist has done this. He did it for George Bush in 1989. Mrs. Clinton will hold the family Bible. It's a King James Bible given to Clinton by his grandmother when he was a child.
Are you ready to take the oath?
I am.
Will you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, William Jefferson Clinton, do solemnly swear
I, William Jefferson Clinton, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
And so a lifelong dream is realized. Not precisely certain where it began, but when he came to this great capital as a young boy and met President Kennedy, the idea of public service was certainly instilled in his mind already. And in the Kennedy relationship, it came full circle when he went to Arlington yesterday to pay tribute at the Kennedy grave. And there he stands, the man who a year ago nobody would have bet a plug nickel on making it through the bruising presidential
Ladies
campaign.
and gentlemen, the President of the United States of America, William Jefferson Clinton.
My fellow citizens, today we celebrate the mystery of American renewal. This ceremony is held in the depth of winter, but by the words we speak and the faces we show the world, we force the spring. A spring reborn in the world's oldest democracy that brings forth the vision and courage to reinvent America. When our founders boldly declared America's independence to the world and our purposes to the Almighty, they knew that America, to endure, would have to change. Not change for change's sake, but change to preserve America's ideals: life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. Though we march to the music of our time, our mission is timeless. Each generation of Americans must define what it means to be an American. On behalf of our nation, I salute my predecessor, President Bush, for his half-century of service to America. And I thank the millions of men and women whose steadfastness and sacrifice triumphed over depression, fascism, and communism. Today, a generation raised in the shadows of the Cold War assumes new responsibilities in a world warmed by the sunshine of freedom, but threatened still by ancient hatreds and new plagues. Raised in unrivaled prosperity, We inherit an economy that is still the world's strongest, but is weakened by business failures, stagnant wages, increasing inequality, and deep divisions among our own people. When George Washington first took the oath I have just sworn to uphold, news traveled slowly across the land by horseback and across the ocean by boat. Now the sights and sounds of this ceremony are broadcast instantaneously to billions around the world. Communications and commerce are global. Investment is mobile. Technology is almost magical. And ambition for a better life is now universal. We earn our livelihood in America today in peaceful competition with people all across the earth. Profound and powerful forces are shaking and remaking our world. And the urgent question of our time is whether we can make change our friend and not our enemy. This new world has already enriched the lives of millions of Americans who are able to compete and win in it. But when most people are working harder for less, when others cannot work at all, when the cost of health care devastates families and threatens to bankrupt our enterprises great and small, when the fear of crime robs law-abiding citizens of their freedom, and when millions of poor children cannot even imagine the lives we are calling them to lead, we have not made change our friend. We know we have to face hard truths and take strong steps, but we have not done so. Instead, we have drifted, and that drifting has eroded our resources, fractured our economy, and shaken our confidence. Though our challenges are fearsome, so are our strengths. Americans have ever been a restless, questing, hopeful people, and we must bring to our task today the vision and will of those who came before us. From our revolution to the Civil War, to the Great Depression, to the Civil Rights Movement, our people have always mustered the determination to construct from these crises the pillars of our history. Thomas Jefferson believed that to preserve the very foundations of our nation, we would need dramatic change from time to time. Well, my fellow Americans, this is our time. Let us embrace it. Our democracy must be not only the envy of the world, but the engine of our own renewal. There is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America. And so today we pledge an end to the era of deadlock and drift, and a new season of American renewal has begun. To renew America, we must be bold. We must do what no generation has had to do before. We must invest more in our own people, in their jobs, and in their future, and at the same time, cut our massive debt. And we must do so in a world in which we must compete for every opportunity. It will not be easy. It will require sacrifice. But it can be done, and done fairly. Not choosing sacrifice for its own sake, but for our own sake. We must provide for our nation the way a family provides for its children. Our founders saw themselves in the light of posterity. We can do no less. Anyone who has ever watched a child's eyes wander into sleep knows what posterity is. Posterity is the world to come, the world for whom we hold our ideals, from whom we have borrowed our planet, and to whom we bear sacred responsibility. We must do what America does best, offer more opportunity to all, and demand more responsibility from all.